Once again, Money in the Bank happened. Like, how? I remember WrestleMania. It felt like a month ago when we saw Roman Reigns win the titles and whatnot. Now we're at Money in the Bank. The next pay-per-view, SummerSlam. Did the time seriously pass by that quickly? I don't know, but WWE after WrestleMania has felt very different to WWE before WrestleMania. And stuff is honestly much better than it was previously. Obviously, there's still some of the dumb stuff that occurs every now and then, but I feel like it's much better than it was earlier in the year, so yeah. Now, this show, I had some hype towards it because it's Money in the Bank, but while watching it, something fell missing. And for sure, it had to do with the world titles, because I felt it throughout the show. It's like, oh, the show's passing by quickly. It's good, but something's off, and it's there. It's kind of a shame that he didn't compete here, but it is what it is. Alright, enough talk, let's get into it. Okay, the first match on the show was the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. One of the most hyped up matches on the show. I mean, it's Money in the Bank, what do you expect? This one, when compared to the previous ladder matches, was so damn messy. Spots were botched, some missed timings, Shotzi jumping off the top and landing on her head. It was wild and not in a good way. As you've seen some of these spots go south, they got a bit worried to see somebody like Liv Morgan go for the sunset flip from the top. Lacey Evans scared me for a moment. Then, of course, my pick, Becky Lynch, turned out to be wrong. How? Because Liv Morgan won it. It seemed almost too good to be true, and if anything, I thought it was Asuka or Becky in particular. But now it advances her story of being little time instead of big time Bex, and having nothing to show for her so-called notoriety. As for Liv Morgan, a huge moment in her career, she's improved tremendously in the past year, and from the upcoming stars, she definitely has some of the most upside and one of the most loyal fan base. It's a nice moment to see her win. There's a new star being built in front of our eyes, and it feels fresh and it's different to what we're used to seeing. The next match is the United States Championship. Bobby Lashley challenges Theory for the gold. Okay, this one was decent. I didn't really care much for it, but it was definitely better than whatever I had in mind. Theory controlling the match was a bit surprising. I thought it was going to be like a full-on chicken heel trying to run away and whatnot. And he was always a step ahead of the challenger. This was after he struggled in the beginning. Lashley had to work from under, but for the most part, Theory had something up his sleeve. This man even delivered a spear, but then he screwed up and found himself in the hurt lock. He taps and Lashley wins the title. Not bad at all. The result somewhat surprised me, as I thought Theory would lose by DQ or something. Add to that, they really love him, and I thought he was going to have a long run. But that wasn't to be. Lashley easily deserves this, and if anything, he should be higher up on the card in a match with Roman Reigns, but this is better than nothing. Yes, as I said, good match. The next match was the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defended the title against Carmella. This was originally Rhea Ripley's title shot, but an injury prevented her from competing. That Rhea and Bianca match would have been something because both practically rose up together. But that said, Carmella's like the Dolph Ziggler of the women's division, and here she put up a fight, but there was no doubt in anyone's mind who was winning, and to put it simply, Bianca bitched her out. She showed that she was in a far other level compared to her, and even then it looks like this is going to continue because afterwards Carmella attacked. For a moment I thought Liv was going to cash in, but that wasn't to be. The next match is the Unified Tag Team Championships. The Usos defend the titles against the Street Profits. Little did I know these two sides would pull out something ridiculous. Now, they've had some matches in the past. These matches were good. They were featured on SmackDown, Raw, whatever, and they were always entertaining, but this is easily their best match. They had almost 25 minutes of chaos, the Usos isolating Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins trying to remind everyone of who he is, and from my perspective, he succeeded. It's easily one of my favorite performances from him, and usually we hear, oh, with Montez Ford, he's going to get that super push, and I hope he does. We hear that Angelo Dawkins will be lost in the shuffle. Hopefully that's not the case, but because he showed some bright spots here and in recent times. The Usos kind of felt recently to me, not because of their match performances, they always deliver, but because they're booked like Roman Reigns in the tag division. I wish that bloodline story would develop, but that's not the point. Here, they brought it and then some, and other than that, their match performances have been something else, and with FTR, they're some of my favorite tag teams from the year. Just the lack of competition hurts them. Some are even calling this WWE's best tag team match of the year, and I agree, it just has to be, otherwise, what could we choose? These two teams stole the show and brought interest in another match. You know, everyone wanted to see another match after this. And add to that, it seems like that's going to happen because of the ending. Then I heard some others say, oh, Montez Ford is going to get attacked by Angelo Dawkins. They're teasing dissension, but I hope it's the latter because I feel like this team could go a little more before splitting up. They showed a bizarre vignette here. Like, who is this guy? Edge? Now, the guy who was on my mind in the beginning was obviously Bray Wyatt. Some people are like, oh, it just has to be Edge. Why would they air a vignette for him? I don't know. but it just seems like something Edge would do. Okay, the next match is for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey defends the title against Natalya. Okay, this is simple. They told a story of who could top the other. Each woman was urgent in their approach to lock in submissions. Natalya used her experience and her intelligence, while Rousey had the heart. It's not the best match or anything like that, it just happened. What followed, though, is a different story, and you guys know the result. I mean, Ronda Rousey wasn't going to lose this one. But afterwards, Liv Morgan came out, and with her always coming up short, I thought this would happen here. It just felt like it, but not only did she counter the ankle lock from Ronda Rousey, but she successfully cashed in. It feels kind of weird seeing her as champion. It just happened from out of nowhere, and almost feels more shocking than the main event's result. Because everyone considered her to be the one that WWE never pulled the trigger on, and even here I almost doubted it would happen because Ronda with one leg is still dangerous. But Liv Morgan is champion, and as weird as that sounds, and perhaps a program with Ronda is on the horizon, or the Queen is coming back to become a 14-time champion at SmackDown this week. But yeah, congrats to Liv Morgan. Well, it would have been better to see a woman hold the Money in the Bank for longer than a day. It is what it is, and this moment in itself was great. And the main events, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, the match that I had the most hype for. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Riddle seemed like the biggest favorites in this match with good reason. Rollins seemed almost too obvious, but what they actually did was pretty unexpected. All of the guys were in the ring when Adam Pearce decided to add somebody to the match. So I'm thinking, oh, John Cena. But why would he return to a Money in the Bank match? Then you hear that damn A-Town, and he came out. Of course it's Austin Theory. I mean, who else is it gonna be? And with that, half of the match was spoiled for some of you. The match itself was pure chaos, not last year's chaos, but a very welcoming main event. Will it stand out in a couple of years? I don't know. It didn't have the unique atmosphere that 2020 had, nor the ridiculousness of 2021, but even then, it was really good. Riddle flying over the place, Omos being so dominant to the point that others worked together to take him out, Drew McIntyre being so damn explosive, Sami Zayn having that little moment where I thought the briefcase was his, and to top it all off, Riddle hit an RKO on Rollins from the top. It was getting heated. Riddle was going to win that briefcase, but then Theory pulls it from out of nowhere, and he's Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, if you asked me in February, this man would have been my pick for Money in the Bank. He was getting pushed hard. They loved him more than the audience does, and it just seemed likely. But then he won the U.S. title, and I didn't even put a thought to it. Yeah, here he was pulling a 2008 Chris Jericho, and it's weird. Now, on one side, it's nice to push young talent. The man is 24, and they believe in him so much. And Money in the Bank is tailored for somebody like him. But at the same time, it just feels like they're pushing him a bit hard. Like, we all know he's their guy. He's risen so much in the last year, but I think something's missing. Maybe some moments or a proper run. I don't know. I feel like he needed a little more before becoming Mr. Money in the Bank. Maybe they feel he's going to improve as time goes on with the briefcase in hand. Because otherwise, I don't see him cashing in on Roman or Brock. And if he does, it will feel very forced. Seth Rollins is easily the safest option, but I guess it's time for new blood. It doesn't have go-away heat with me or anything like that personally, but I would rather see somebody else win it on this night. You know, maybe next year he could have won it. But whatever, he's Mr. Money in the Bank now. Alright, so that's Money in the Bank. This show is honestly fun. As I said, it lacked a Roman Reigns match, I feel. I needed one more match in the show. Now, obviously referring to a Roman Reigns match, not just any other match. Other than that, though, a lot of the matches were enjoyable. The opening match, there were some nice moments, but at the same time, it was rough. It just wasn't pleasant. Bobby Lashley in Theory, decent. Bianca Belair and Carmella, it just happened, honestly, you know, like, whatever. The Tag Team Championship match, that match of the night, easily. Usos, Street Profits, I want to see this again at SummerSlam, perhaps, but this time I want to see the Usos actually lose. Ronda Rousey and Natalya, almost decent, and then the main event, it was good, but as I said, the show was missing that Roman Reigns match, in my personal opinion. Alright, what did you guys think of Money in the Bank? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the spear on the like button, and perhaps the RKO on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.